Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Hello and welcome to Raw Podcast with myself, Cougar Cassius. As promised, we have a second part to our podcast we did nearly 2 years ago now. Conor, Benn, thank you for agreeing to do this again. How are you, first of all?
Yeah, good mate, good. Grafting, just finished getting the work in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Sunday work.
In your very branded gym here.
Yeah. It's the Everlast gym.
Looks good.
Yeah, I'm buzzing with it. You know, it was always a dream for me as a kid to have a home gym. My dad's always had home gyms, and for me it was like, you know, one day I loved my home gym. So for me this was like a dream ticked off.
Absolutely. Right, well look, I want to get a little bit of boxing talk out of the way. I'm not going to delve into kind of stuff that's going on behind the scenes with you. This is not that type of interview, but I did really want to kind of get a response off Chris Eubank's hit list that he put out the other day. I know you put a little bit on social media yourself, but he's kind of named you and Billy Joe Saunders, etc. in this kind of 5-person hit list. What was your reaction to that, first of all?
Yeah, listen, I'd love nothing more than to smash him to pieces. That's the facts of it. But, you know, for me, has the ship sailed? You know, not so sure. I think for me, I think pursuing the world titles or 147, for me is the main plan. You know, the Eubank fight's going nowhere. You know, I'd rather it me and him over Straightner personally. You know, and that's that. You know, I don't like the guy. I think he's an idiot. I think he's, you know, carries on like a bit of a twat. But for me, I think, you know, me pursuing my career at 147 is the plan. That's where you get the highlight reel knockouts. You know, for me, that's my weight. Don't get me wrong, I still believe I give him a good, you know, arse spanking at 160, but, you know, the world titles are at 147 and being ranked top 5 in every governing body, for me, is like, I've worked hard to get in that position. And I believe that's where, you know, you'll see the highlight reel knockouts. You know, at the end of the day, you see Crawford move up. You see Virgil Ortiz move up. And I know it ain't a lot when you go up. Like, it's not like, you know, there's a massive difference. A fight's a fight, but you do notice the difference. How's Virgil Ortiz coming off a 100% knockout streak? How's Crawford coming off an 8-fight knockout streak? And, you know, going points. You know, listen, I've proven the last 2 fights at 154. I'm comfortable with going up to 154 and giving them a good beating for the 10 and 12 rounds. You know, there's no, my engine don't slow down. You know, punch power's still there, hurting them. But, you know, I believe I carry that power up to 160 easy. But for me, 147 is the plan at the moment.
Do you admit, though, the Eubank fight is the money fight for you?
And listen, I'm going to get paid regardless. I'm gonna get paid regardless. I ain't short of a few fighters. Probably been the most inactive fighter in Britain, and, you know, you still have the top Americans, you know, the top 5s, the 1%ers in boxing calling my name without doing much. So really, me fighting in America was a blessing, because it seems to have, you know, really, you know, put my name up there, in the tops of people's mouths over there.
All right, well listen, we can kind of pick up, talk on opponents again when you've got further news for us, but it's just kind of seeing your kids here now. Obviously, a lot has changed for you over the last few years in your, nothing to do with really your boxing, but your development as a man, having 2 kids now. How has fatherhood changed you?
Yeah, it's good, it's a blessing. I mean, it's been challenging, obviously. Boxing is my life, boxing is my everything. So, you know, having that sort of taken away from me from a period, you sit there and you go, whoa, hold on a minute. What is going on? I had to reevaluate everything, and you sit down there and you go, who am I? You know, and I probably think it's probably one of the scariest things I've ever had to ask myself is, who am I as a man? It's disguised by the glamour, it's disguised by, you know, being a world-ranked fighter, it's disguised by fame. But then when that's sort of taken away from you, you sort of look down and you go, who are you? As a man, who is Conor Benn? What does Conor Benn enjoy? What is Conor Benn outside of boxing? And I didn't know, you know, so I had to refine myself. and sort of, just see who I am. You know, some things I really didn't like, some things I knew I had to change, and most people are forced to deal with these questions after retirement. They go, well, my whole career's been, just boxing. And then you go, wow, what do I even like to do? And that was sort of the journey I've been on, as well as outside of boxing, as well as outside of being a dad of two. It's been a lot of self-growth.
Because a lot of the stuff, obviously, you becoming a dad, etc., but all this is happening in a very kind of short space of time, coinciding obviously with your stuff that's kind of going on outside of the ring as well. So it must be a lot to cope with as well. Yeah,
of course. Obviously, I didn't know how I was going to make it through the period. It's been such a up and down season in my life. The good news is really good, and then the bad news is or even a little bit of bad news is really bad. There's no level with me, so it's been hard for me to try and find balance in the madness. But yeah, my whole life is still boxing. So we're sitting here waiting, just for this whole period to finish and this season to end. Even having my daughter, I had her just as we'd won the hearing. We found out she was pregnant, and then as soon as she was born, it had got leaked to the Daily Mail, which was where I first read it, that I'd lost the appeal. So I'm like grieving and mourning my career still again, and yet my daughter's just been born. And it's like, it's just like I didn't know how to feel. Because I'm back to square one, and I've got my family, I just haven't got my daughter. And I'm like trying to find happiness in having my daughter. So I feel like that moment was really taken away from me.
I was going to ask that, because obviously you've gone through like kind of two births of your children now, but that whole kind of process from obviously, Vic being pregnant to having that baby, there is a cloud over you while this is meant to be kind of the happiest part, or one of the happiest days of your life.
Yeah, of course. So it's definitely, you got to remember, all of this is intentional. Well, all of a sudden it gets leaked to, the press before I even knew, just after my daughter had been born, literally 24 hours. So for me it was, it's hard, but it's just life, isn't it? There's nothing really I can do about it. I do feel like the moment was taken away from me, and I've had to try and sit back and find peace and happiness in the madness. Although boxing's been taken away from me, just finding my peace. Do you know what I mean? I go to Spain, and I've been out in Spain for the past, 3-4 months, and I wake up, I train, take Eli to the beach, take the kids to the beach, the family to the beach, go back, train, and then that's been my life for the past, few months. And I sit there and I go, oh my gosh, I live a blessed life. And then I come home to my home here in England, and use my home gym. So I sit there and I go, at 27, I'm very blessed. And this ain't gonna go on forever. Even if it was another year, another 2 years, you can't take me away from me. You can't take me away from me. I am me. I look myself in the mirror and I'm still me. And nobody can take that away from me. And that's how I feel about it.
What has having children done for your life?
Definitely made me think about decisions I've made. There's a time to be young. There's a time you can, be young, more reckless, more wild, live life. But then as you get to starting with kids and, understanding I am their everything. I am their role model. As well as I am other people, my kids, I'm everything to them. I'm all they know. So for me, I just want to be as present as much as I can. And for me, that's probably been the hardest thing, is just being present with my kids. Not thinking about the next fight date, not thinking about this, not thinking about that, just being present with my kids. And, I found that, as of recent, watching my son, the relationship we have is, I can't even put it into words. Like, I pray my son loves me as much as I love my dad. I pray one day he loves me as much as I love my dad. Like, I look at him and I get emotional. I'm like, I don't even want him to grow up. I watched him in bed in Mallorca, and I just got teary-eyed, and I was just like, mate, like, you're growing up too fast. And I'm regretting the moments, which hasn't been a lot. You got to remember, he's only 3, but I'm regretting the moments I missed because I was too busy focused on the exterior.
Do you think are you saying you missed parts of those early stages of Eli growing up?
Yeah, of course. You got to think I was young. I was 24 when Vic was pregnant. You know, so yeah.
What could you have done differently?
There's nothing I could have done differently, because part of growing up is life. It's just, you make mistakes, you have regrets, but it's all part of life. There's nothing I could have done. There's nothing I could have told my younger self now, because I was going through the process of getting to where I am now. You know, and you have to go through life to live, to have experience, to gain wisdom, gain knowledge. You know, you've never heard anything from a wise man if he ain't been through things himself. You know, so for me, there was nothing I could have done. I was just young, and you know, that's perfectly fine. But I'd like to say I would have been more present. But my whole life was about the hunt, the chase, the world titles, the glory, the money. It's all, you're chasing that, and then you sit down and you go, well, when it comes down to it, all that really matters is my family.
2 different questions here. Do you think that there's a good chance your kids will box, and do you want them to box?
Yeah, I think my son will box. Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was just in the gym running on the treadmill with me. Keeps asking to come gym with me. Puts the boxing gloves that custom made from Everlast for him, have Eli on them. So I think it is really a family business, and I think I won't push him into it, because that makes no difference to me whether my son boxes or not. But I do think I think it's just, you know, heavily in the Benn genes.
Do you think there's a possibility your daughter might want to box?
I wouldn't really like that, personally. Now I know people are going to be like, oh,
it's 2024.
Yeah, but no. I don't
think you're wrong for saying that. I wouldn't want my daughter.
Yeah, I don't have to go with the times. I don't care. I'm strong in what I believe in. Do I like women's boxing? Probably get in trouble for saying that. Do I like boxing? Females boxing? Yeah, I do. But for my daughter, no. I'd rather my daughter, you know, get into ballet or something, or playing the piano or violin.
I don't think you're wrong. I think that's everyone's own.
It's not like I'm against nothing, but I can say what I want to believe, how I feel about my kids, my own kids, and what I think is best for my kids. I don't want my daughter to get punched in the face. Are you joking? No. What?
No, I'm with you on that. I'm 100%
yeah. So no,
you.
my daughter ain't getting no punched up in her face. Don't care what nobody says. I don't care what it's not happening. I mean, I won't be taking her down the boxing gym.
I know they're young, very young, your children. Can you see traits in Eli where he's going to be that overprotective big brother?
Not really. He's too young for me to tell, but he's definitely me. He's definitely me. I look at him and I'm just like, he just blows me away. Yeah, I can't believe he's my son. Like, my love for him is, it's hard to explain. My heart hurts for him. You know, that he's going to have to grow up in the world, and he's going to have to experience pain, and he's going to have to, it's such a hard feeling, because you don't ever want him to experience that, but it's part of life. And I think I've seen my dad, and I always wonder why my dad got emotional with me growing up, like with things I've been through, and then I'm like, I get it. You know, like this whole period of mine watching my dad have to really suffer, you know, as well. And it's, I get it.
It's interesting because your dad led an extreme life, like at points traumatic. Your dad's life was just 100 miles an hour. Your life won't be as intense as that because of kind of just in the pecking order of you kind of learning from your dad, and your relationship with your son will be different as well.
Yeah, I think my dad was very strict with me. Out of all my dad's kids, I was the one who was like, yeah, probably got the most discipline. I never understood why though. For me, it was always like, why me? Genuine question. Why are you, like, I'm just energetic. So when my son does stuff, I'm like, I get it. So Victoria may not get it, but I'll look at him and I'll go, but he's not meaning to, it's just the way he is. Like, he'll do something and I'm like, I know that would have been me and I wouldn't have liked to have been told off for it as a kid, even though I'm not trying to be bad. I'm not being bad, but it's just it's hard, I can't explain it to you, but I know that would have been me and I know I wouldn't have been told off for it. Do you know what I'm saying or not?
Yeah, I do.
I see a lot of me and I'm just very conscious of...
But only you recognise that and only you see that when you look at your son.
Because I know that would have been me, but I'm not going to tell him off for it because I know he's not... It's just, it's just the way he is.
Because you've got a boy and a girl, you're going to go through those complete father emotions, completely different as well, aren't they? With the way you kind of guide your little girl to... You know.
I feel very differently about my son and my daughter. I feel very differently. I feel like my son is irreplaceable. Like, not that anyone's replaced, but I feel like my son, the love I have for him is like he's the heir to the throne. Like he's like, you're going to be the one that takes care of the family. You know, and that's how I see him. Is you're going to be the one to take care of your brothers and your sisters. You're the one that's going to be the one to continue this on. Not necessarily boxing, but the foundations that have been laid from my dad to me, from me to my son. This is yours. Yeah, and with that comes responsibility. And I just, even now, I look at him and I go, I want you are going to be that kid. You are going to be that man, that boy who protects his sister, protects his family, you know, trains hard, you know, has work ethic and discipline, you know, has, you know, good morals. And for me, the please and the thank you, like, so all them things I really drill into my son. So when I see him go up to someone and say, oh, can I have that, please? And then when he gets it, thank you, all the time. It's that, for me, that is, you know, just that always says please, always say thank you. He'll always say sorry if he's hurt you or done something wrong. For me, I just want him to just be a better version of me. You know, you know, surpass me in anything he does.
And how does that compare with your daughter? Yeah.
My daughter, she is going to be the princess of princesses. You know, like, yeah. Seen Bad Boys? You know, you come knocking on the door, take her to
Reggie.
prom. Yeah.
Reggie.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So.
Fucking wrong, Reggie.
Yeah. Motherfucker look 30. Yeah. Yeah. So that's yeah. It's going to be a tricky one, that, because.
It's a different battle you're going to have to face, isn't it? It's like,
Well, it won't really be much of a fight, will it?
No, I'm just saying, like the whole.
You know, for me, it's like, unless like you can really look after my daughter, like there ain't no, like, we're not even playing when it comes to my daughter. Like, we're not even playing. It's not even like, you know, if you ain't on this or on that, then like don't even talk to my daughter. That's how I will be, how I feel about it. Yeah.
Environment-wise, obviously, because you've lived in Australia, you've lived in Spain.
Yeah. I grew up in Spain.
Grew up in Spain, exactly. Your kids are going to be brought up here in England.
I don't think so, nah. I think I'm going to relocate the family to Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Why?
Because it's just a better way of living.
Safer?
Safer, definitely, by a mile. Like, it's beautiful over there. You keep your innocence for longer. You know, I was talking to some kids over there who are 13, 14, and I was like, it is so refreshing, you know, hearing these kids talk. And then also learning a second language, understanding a different culture. And for me, yeah, it's just nice. Better well even go to the beach, a lot more outdoor activities, you know, bilingual schools. You know, for me, I feel like it'd be the right decision for my kids. I also don't want them growing up, you know, in this bubble of fame, shall we say, or, you know, me being known, whereas we're in Spain where we are, we're not around no tourists. We're in Spain, you know, on an island with the Mallorquins. You know, so it's like, no one actually really cares. My kids can go to school and just be the normal kids, rather than my son being raised in Essex.
With all this shit going on in the country now, is that in the back of your head, like, the thought of actually bringing up kids now, in this day and age, it is a concern. I could see exactly why you'd want to do that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's scary, it's worrying,
Yeah.
of course it is. I mean, it's not safe at all. It's not safe at all. And you know, watching all the madness, I'm watching from Spain and I'm going, what on earth am I coming back to?
Yeah.
What is going on? You know, and I see both sides. I get both sides, but it's like, what on earth is going on right now? And then you do, guys, 2024. How's this still like this? How's this happening? You know, so for me, it's just like, I want my kids to know nothing about the world. Be sheltered. You know, and then you have people who go, sheltered upbringing. Too damn right. What? And what? You think my kids got to come from? No, mate, my kids are going to be so sheltered. Will they know work ethic, discipline, you know, resilience and strength? Yeah, of course, but at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15? No, they'll come of age where those principles will come to use, but let kids be kids. Ramming things down kids' throats. Let kids be kids. Without agendas and media pushing. My kids just want to be kids. They just want to go down the park, have fun, run on the beach, swim in the sea. That's it.
Will you shelter them from social media?
Yeah. My kids aren't on social media, no. Obviously.
As they get older, though, that's going to be a bit more difficult.
My kids won't be on social media, no. It won't be difficult. Because it's all about your environment and, you know, other people, kids, you know, and some people don't have social media. I know people's kids who don't have social media. There's nothing good that comes from social media. There's nothing good that comes from it. So for me, it's my line of work. It's what I do. I keep the public notified on how hard I'm working. I keep the public informed on what I'm doing, where I'm at, how I'm doing it, but my supporters are interested in my journey and my career and what I'm currently doing. But for my kids, there's no need. Why does my kids need to go on social media? To show off what they got for their birthday? To, then compare themselves to what their friends got? It's just toxic. Social media is toxic. For kids who can't process things as well, it's toxic.
Do you think if you'd kind of spent those kind of early teen years growing up, whether it was, say, London or Essex, do you think your life would have been different?
Yeah. My life would have been so different if I was raised here.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been listen, you never know. I'm speaking really hypothetically here, but I don't feel like I would have been the nicest of... It's hard to, I don't know, man. Would I have been that kid that goes around going, my dad is not all that. I've never been that kid. Never been that kid. So I liked my dad just being my dad. My dad is my hero. I love my dad for who he was, not because he was Nigel Benn and I don't want to be that for my son. I just want to be my son's dad. I want to be like a hero or a role model. I'm your dad.
I think if you had grown up, say, in the South, Essex or London, I think that you probably would have presented yourself with problems that had nothing to do with you just because of your dad.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I would have been having terrors all the time, probably. No, probably. For me, there's nothing good that comes from that either. Yeah. We're looking at schools here for my kids, but I think the family is happier abroad. My dad left the blueprint for me, moved to Spain when I was a kid. I was a baby. And then we moved to Sydney, even further away. And I was just, I was a kid and it done the family the world of good. So for me it's nice to come out of the madness, come in, come out, and I'll just make sure that I've given my family a home in both places so that they can come back and forth as they please. But for me, I'm happier over there in Spain. It's or maybe just get up. It's just the weather. When you've got good sunshine, that is just standard. You know, just nobody
craving
cares.
the 2-3 days we get in a month.
That's what I mean. You don't.
Everyone's going mad.
Yeah.
Sun's out.
Yeah. No. So that's yeah, it's a blessing, man, to be able to just, you know, wake up in the morning and train. For me, training is everything. I need training. It's just my life now. It keeps me stable.
You're what they call a gym rat, aren't you? You're obsessed with the gym. You're obsessed with training, whether you're in camp or not.
I can't help it.
Yeah.
I genuinely can't help it, because I just couldn't. It took me a lot to understand myself and, you know, find myself. I was like, why do I feel this way? You know, when boxing was taken away from me, I didn't train. I didn't train for maybe 4 months, and I couldn't even tell you how. Don't get me wrong, I'm still in shape. Like, I'm always like, I don't blow up in weight, I don't get unhealthy, but I just couldn't function. You know, for me, I wake up, I attack the day, I wake up, I train. First thing I do in the morning is train every day. Every day I wake up in the morning, first thing I do is train. Then I'll come home, I'll nap. I have a nap every day, it's routine. And then I then spend the day with the kids. And then I go back to the gym in the evening. For me, that's my life. Training for me is my life. I always wondered, I always used to ask my dad, why you train like a lunatic for? Like, I never understood it. Because when I was younger, probably about 19 to 23, 24, I used to go on holiday and not train for 2 weeks after a fight, and, you know, go out and drink and, you know, be young and live. And then as I've got older, I actually need training. Like, I actually need to train. I can't have more than 2-3 days not training. Otherwise my head just going on. Just train, Conor. Set the standard, set the bar. Keep your mind right. Because what they say, a strong body can't carry a weak mind, but a strong mind can carry a weak body. You know, so for me, that's where I'm at. So my son's just coming on his bike.
Good to see him. How was your dad, first of all? Because I've not seen your dad for a little while.
Yeah, my dad's my hero, man. Yeah, my dad makes me laugh.
Your dad's, like, his social life was, like, wild back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
It was very wild, yeah.
He was wild. But I've known you socially for years now, and you've never been that go out party kind of guy, have you? You'd go out, but you're not. I'm not going to start comparing.
I wouldn't, no. I mean, my dad was off the charts.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to compare
if you're comparing me to...
But you could have been that boy, couldn't you?
Yeah, right. Listen, I've lived life. I've lived enough of it.
Yeah.
For my standard. Do you know what I mean? And for me, it's like, there's a time to party, there's a time to be young. Never would I let partying get away with my career. Never would I have, you know, compromised. Boxing for me always comes first. You know, boxing for me is my priority. I didn't come here for nothing else. And I know it's harsh, but everything else is secondary to my boxing. When you start having kids, and it becomes very different and the whole dynamic changes. But boxing for me was my everything, and I feel like, yeah, there's a time to be young, and I feel like there was a time I was young, but yeah, boxing for me has always been my core, you know, the centre of my life, you know, and I love nothing more than winning. So if anything got in the way of me winning, it wasn't not good enough. I love winning. I fear losing, and I think that fear of losing, that fear of losing, kept me stable.
Yeah. For the last few years, like I said, and I mentioned that because I do know, and we know boxers that kind of out of camp, and they have, you know, which everyone's entitled to do.
Everyone can do what they want to do.
Absolutely, but I've never kind of looked at you with that side of you've.
I always train. Say if I'd gone out, I'm always in the gym. Oh, you want to go out? Oh, you want to go out and play? All right, well, you pay the price in the morning. Oh, you want to go out? Or then you pay the price, you pay the consequences of you, because I won't cut a session short. I want to cut you, that's your problem. And then when you get to that, the punishment isn't worth the good time. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that's where I always train. I always keep myself in shape. You know, never completely fall off. You know, I think the most fell off was when all this was going on. I couldn't even. It was madness. The whole period was just the maddest period of my life. Whereas now, everything's sort of like, you know, easy. You know, training now is easy because having to train when that's happening, this is happening, having a big cloud and trying to really, like there have been times I come in the gym, all right, just walk on the treadmill. Just walk on the treadmill. Slow jog. Not because I was unfit, but just because there was no desire or will to do it. It was just discipline. You know, that's why you've never seen me out of shape, because it's not what you want to do. Sometimes in life you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do. And for me, I didn't want to do that at all. Last thing I wanted to do was walk in a gym. You know, because I felt like I had painted my heart black, so I didn't want to go near a gym. Get in the gym, it's a constant argument, hey, you should get in the gym. It's good for you. And that was a constant battle until then you realise, actually, I need it.
Okay, well listen, I do appreciate your time. It's good to get your perspective on kind of, because I know you're, like I said, this is your family now. I see Eli trying to escape the house about 15 times out there. You've got your little girl now, you're settled in your family life, and it's good to hear. As I said, so I remember talking to you about it. Was in actually out one day, weren't we? This is before either of our kids were born, and he was like, "I've got something to tell you," and he was like, "I've got something to tell you," and it happened to be the same thing. And he was obviously expecting, and I was expecting. I wasn't. My obviously partner then was, but but that seems like ages ago now.
Yeah, I think my life's just changed so much. I've done a lot of living in the past. 9 years? Like the life I've lived in 9 years and where I'm at. Sometimes I sit and I go, you know what? You've done all right. Now you're doing all right. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. This is just a start for me in my head. But I sit here and I go, God, you are so blessed. You have no idea how blessed you are. What, me and my family can just go to Spain for 3-4 months and just be with each other, just spend time with each other. Then come back to our beautiful home here and then, you know, come in my gym and, you know, not have to worry. And now big fights on the horizon, and then it's just like my whole life is actually a blessing. Yeah, the whole case is a pain in the ass, and yes, it's like, come on, let's just get this done and over with now. It's just more like, I'm over it. Whatever, no problem, cool. Let's just, whatever.
Draw a line under it.
It's ridiculous. Let's just whatever. No problem. Do you know what I mean? And that's completely fine. But apart from that, aside from the whole big cloud, life's pretty good. Yeah, life's pretty good, man.
Okay, Conor, Benn, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, listen, we'll definitely catch up with you again. Guys, thank you for listening to Raw Podcast with myself, Kugan Cassius, and this week, part 2 from Conor Benn. So make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you very much, Conor.
Pleasure.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.